Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to insert. We want the leg assembly, we want a threaded rod, and we want 2 nuts. And we're going to fasten the rod into that circle there. We're going to offset it a little bit so that it sticks out. Just like that. And it'll stick out on both ends. And we're going to connect the nuts to either side of that. Just like that. So we have our leg assembly part done up like that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to come down on the surface and we're going to grab that corner there. So this highlighted edge is the part that's going to stick to our job. Now what we want to do is come over here to this instances menu here, and we're going to hide both barrel seams and the 2 ends of the barrel. So we're going to have the open barrel like this and the plate. So I'm going to fix it to the center of that, just like that. I'm going to flip it around so it's on the bottom and it sticks just like that. We go over here to the offset menu, and I can see that the Y1 is the one I want to move. So I need to move it over 10 mil, negative 10 mil, to get it sitting right in line with the center of this. I also need to offset it by negative 210, and that's going to have it sitting right at the bottom of our barrel. However, it's still sitting a bit forward, as you can see there. So I go back into my fasten. I'm going to offset it on the red one, 50 mil, negative 50 mil back. So it sits back on our barrel just like this. And that's how we want that one to sit. Now I'm going to select everything I've just done. I'm going to copy it. I just went and clicked Control C, then Control V, and I've got another instance of that assembly that I've just done there. So all those parts are sticking together just the way we did it down on this one, and we don't have to worry about redoing all the joinery we did just before. I'm going to get my Fasten Mate tool, zoom in on top again, pick up that edge once more. I'm going to use the back end of the barrel this time, and fasten to like that, and then flip him around until he looks normal. Okay. We need to offset him as well. Needs to be done there, sitting in the center just like that. I'm going to once again put it down at negative 210 so it sits on the bottom like that, and this one I'm going to offset backwards 100, negative 100. So it's sitting there like that. Now this isn't going to be very stable. We want these actually to be rotated around this barrel somehow. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to this tool here, which is assembly circular pattern. We click on that, and the instances we want is that back one we just did. That's the one that's in line with the chimney. So I grab all that, and all the different parts have been added to this menu up the top. The axis of the pattern is the outside of the barrel like this. And if I rotate around, you can see that it's actually put one opposite from that one. We want to have the angle being 30. And out comes a little bit like that, coming out at 30 degrees to this. We're going to hit tick. And we're going to do it again, but we're going to make sure that it comes out on the other side this time. By clicking that button. So this now has 4 points where we can put legs. So we don't want to have 4 points for legs. We only want to have 3 points. So we're going to select all this again, right click on it, and hit hide. And that's going to go away and we can forget that it exists. If we deleted that, then these 2 bits that we made off it would be deleted. So we're just going to have it sitting like that. Now we're gonna select those bits we just had there before, and we're gonna hit fix, and that way they're not gonna go anywhere strange, and it's just gonna stay there and be nice and neat. So what I did is I drag from left to right. That means everything inside the square is selected. If I go right to left, that means everything that the box touches is selected. Now what we're going to do is go to insert, and we're going to chuck in our legs. We have a front leg, a left leg, and a right leg. Separate them out, and we're going to use our fasten mate tool on that. And then we put it on the pin that goes through there, and we use our offsets to make sure it's sitting in the middle of our thing. So it's looking nice and normal. Good. And we do the same thing to these. Now you just have to be careful that you're putting these on the right side. So the left one has to go on the left, obviously. And the right on the right. See, that's on the wrong one. That has to go on the other side. So I'm going to go and put it over there. See how that flat bit on the end now looks like it is actually sitting flat? That's what you want. So I'm going to offset it again. Make sure it's sitting in the middle. And you just have to sort of play with the numbers with this just to make sure it's in the middle. Because depending on where you put these connectors, it's going to be a bit strange. So don't follow my numbers, is what I'm saying. I'm just sort of guessing where they go. Okay, so now we can bring back the 2 barrel seams, the barrel ends, and we have our little stove with some legs now. So what we need to do now is just attach the door to it. So we're going to insert, door edge, door face, like this. We're going to fasten the center of that with the center of this, right? So that that's flush with that side there. Now we're going to insert the large door hinge, the small door hinge, 2 nuts, and the door pin. And we're going to separate these out so that we can see all the different pieces. I only inserted 1 nut, I think. I need 2 of them. Okay. So we connect the nuts to the pin. Selecting the circle or the hole and putting them on the end of the pin, just like we did for the leg. Then we want to fasten this hole on the larger one, on the larger door hinge, to the pin as well. And we're going to offset it down the pin about 15 mil. Then we're going to use the fasten mate tool again on the small one, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. And this is going to be offset down 18. So it's just inside that larger one. And we're going to rotate it so it's sitting like that. Now we're probably going to end up having to rotate that again so it's sitting on the right angle. But for now, we're going to leave it that way. We're going to attach the small hinge. That's the one sitting on the inside. I'm going right into the center of that. And I'm going to attach it to the side of this. Sticking out like that. Oop, where'd it go? It's over there now. Okay. So that's on the large hole side of this door. And that is going to need to be changed. So we're going to go back into our fastening that we put these bits together in. So I double clicked on the fastening and I'm just going to rotate that like that. Yeah. So this larger hinge is facing back. So then we use the fasten mate on there, on the large hinge, and we come over here, and we fix it on here, like this. So it's sticking out from the door, from the end, and I'm going to offset it, I think 10, negative 10. Let's see what that does. Oh, it's on the wrong side. So, I accidentally attached the hinge to the wrong side of this, so I'm going to go back into my fastening. I'm getting rid of that mate connector just there, because that's the one that's on the open barrel end. I'm going to attach it over here. I'm going to change that to a 10. There we go. That's back in the right place now. So, looking at this, we can see we've got a bit of a gap here. So I'm going to need to offset this a bit more towards that side there. So I'm going back in here. I'm going to go with 20 this time. See if that works. Yeah, good. So, what we've done is we've completely covered up the hole in our end. And this little hole is also going into free space. So if I were to be inside my barrel, let's get rid of the barrel and the closed end. We can see that that is more or less centered around this hole here. We're going to hide barrel seam, the plates, these flue mounts. I don't need that. The stuff there's not really in the way. Oh, probably that end as well. Okay, so we can have a look at the back side of this now. Without all that other stuff in the way, we're going to insert now our grill. Okay, we only need the one grill for now. We're going to fasten the very center of the grill to the center of this hole. Like this. And we want it to be sticking out on the outside of it. So, like that. So it's sitting on that surface. Now we're going to use the linear pattern button, which is right next to the circular one we used before. It's the square one. So the instance is this, is the grill is what we want, and the direction is this. So we can use that line for our direction. We want them to be spaced 15 mil apart. How many should we have? 3? 3. 3 looks good to me. We're going to add a second direction. Direction's going to be like this. I've got now my grill pieces going across the face of this. This allows air to get in, but means that the timber can't fly out the front. And I want to select all of these. Right click, hit fix. That way they're not going to go walking about. Now I can bring back that stuff I hid before. The flue mount, the flues, the plates, closed end, barrel seam, barrel. Okay. So the last thing we need to do is chuck on the handle. So if we go to insert, we need the door handle. We need 2 of those, 2 nuts. And we need the door lock. So we fasten the lock to the end of this pin. And we fasten the nuts to there as well. But this one we want to offset like that. And we want to have this one offset as well, with a little space in between. Like that. Now we're going to fasten. We want to zoom right in here. We want to have the inside of that circle, that inside point. So you can see on mine that the inside of that is highlighted by that little pale circle with the compass coming out. I'm going to need to hide the barrel again. And what I want to do is fix it there. Like that. So the actual last thing we need to do is attach the handle. Now the handle needs to go on this side of the rocket stove. on the same side that this hinge is. So we want to insert 2 barrel handle mounts, the handle pin, and the handle itself. So we fasten. So if I highlight this, I've gotten the very center of the hole we drilled in the middle of our handle. So if I click on that and go over here and click on this, those two things are going to join up, and that's exactly how I want it. And now we're going to go with the center of this side, and then the end of this. I'm going to rotate it around so the handle sticks out. Now I want to have that offset a bit so it's actually covering over that thing. We're going to go back 20, and that's good enough. So that is covering up that little pin sitting on that little mount there, and we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Fasten mate. We want the top of our arc and then the end of that, and we're going to offset this probably a bit more on this. No, it's still 20, and we need to rotate it so that it's going the right way, and that's what we want there, to have our handle sticking out just like that. Let's sort ourselves out so we're looking at this thing in not a strange way. Okay, cool. And now what we're going to do is we're going to fasten the back edge of this to the back edge of this front here. Like that. So now I'm going back in here. I'm going to offset that by about -350. -400. And that's going to put that about in the middle. Then we're going to need to drop it down. It's going to want to go down. It wants to go down half of 210, which is 105. And then it needs to come out about 20 mil. That's not quite sitting on the surface, so we'll change that to 15. Yeah. There we go. That's sitting on the surface now. Okay. And that's how we want it. That's the end of our assembly. All our parts are attached, and our rocket stove is together.